Okay, let's find out more now with Professor Niklas Höhne, a founding partner of the NewClimate Institute, a research institute on climate change. Thanks for being with us this morning. What impact will this decision by the U.S. have on the global effort to combat climate change?
Well, this decision is a fundamental setback for global climate policy, but it's definitely not the end of global climate protection. I think the Paris Agreement has set in motion a process of all countries of the world putting forward policies to reduce greenhouse gas emissions. Renewable energies have become very cheap and they're replacing coal in many countries, in China and India, but also in the US. So I think that's a trend that Trump will have difficulties to reverse.
Okay, well the U.S. under President Obama was leading in the move towards renewables. Are the goals that are set out in the Paris Agreement still, in fact, achievable without the support of the United States?
It will be a bit more difficult, but when we add up the numbers, we can see that there are some developments that go faster than we had expected. So as I said, renewables are developing very quickly, and especially in India and China, they're replacing coal, and these reductions that are happening in India and China over the last few years are actually more significant than the potential additional emissions that could come from the US. So I'm still hopeful that this positive trend continues and that the setback that is happening in the US will not have that large global impact that some people think.
Okay, now the president is saying that the accord, including the provisions for carbon trading, cost the U.S. lots of jobs, bad for the economy. What do you say to that?
Well, I must admit that I can't really believe that. The coal industry is on a downward trend for pure economic reasons. It is not economically viable, and that even the coal companies are admitting that. There's huge amounts of jobs in the renewable energy industry and new innovation, and we can see that from Trump getting pushback from many very important companies, including the oil companies, the chemical companies. And so far, I would say this is not really correct. Having a progressive development more towards a clean energy future would probably provide more jobs in the end than his backward move.
Okay, now the president said he's going to look at renegotiating the deal. Is there any chance that he can do that? That, for example, he can approach individual nations for some kind of bilateral agreements on the sidelines of the deal? You've been covering climate negotiations for many years now.
Yeah, exactly. I've been following these negotiations for 20 years now, and it's absolutely very, very difficult to get a deal at all. And the whole Paris Agreement has a 20-year history, and it took 4 very, very intensive and inclusive years to negotiate it. Now thinking to be able to get a new deal done very quickly is completely unrealistic. So I think that will not happen. Also, we see that many countries stand to the Paris Agreement, and his major counterparts like Europe, China and India, they are sticking to the Paris Agreement, and they actually overfulfill their commitments under the Paris Agreement. So I think it's an unrealistic thing to think that you could negotiate a new agreement, and I expect that he will drop this idea very soon. That's actually the same thing that happened with the Bush administration when they dropped Kyoto. They also said they would go for a new negotiation, but they dropped that idea quite quickly because it was impossible to do.
Okay, thanks for that assessment on the climate front from Niklas Höhne, founding partner of the NewClimate Institute, which works towards implementing climate change policies. Thanks so very much.
Thank you.